Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in on a Sunday morning. And I also know some people are joining from a different time zone. So just really thank you for joining in at what time of the day it is. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in on a Sunday morning. And I also know some people are joining from a different time zone. I'm sorry. Was my voice playing back? I think it was the YouTube live. Yeah, so I'm going to start the recording again. Is this okay now? Is it still repeating? Okay. Yeah, so we can start. So just again, thank you so much for joining in. We are meeting for the open house on Presence Oriented Psychotherapy program that Just Being offers. So it's just a small space for us to interact with the lead trainer of the course, Sandy, and hear from her about what the course is about. And also I have our very dear alumni and some of our current students joining us, who I'm very happy have joined. So we'll hear from them also. And then we'll have some space for questions from whoever has joined us in. So feel free to put your questions in the chat, even as and when they come to you. Although we'll also have a dedicated space for that towards, say, a few minutes into the program today. So maybe before I introduce everyone, I'd just like to start with a short video for all of us to open the event. And yeah. Just one, please. Is there audio as I'm sharing?
Yes, Niti.
So today we have Sandy, who's the founder and director of Just Being Center and also the lead trainer of the course. And I also have Harini, who's one of our oldest alumni, and then Sarah, Romana, and who are almost completing their course right now. And then we'll also have Aditi, who will be joining us a little later. So maybe before we get into more, we can just hear a short introduction from all of them, starting with Sandy, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, so welcome everyone, and really glad that you can join in this, and your interest in this program, this modality, this orientation. So I'm Sandy Andrade, and I've been some of you know me, some of you don't, and I've been a psychotherapist for the past over 20 years and really trained in different modalities, but all oriented to a very receptive form of being with ourselves and receiving the and the design of this course, which is called Presence Oriented Psychotherapy. And it's and the whole course, it's over 2 years. So because we do need time to absorb and to be with the material. But it is in short doses. So our modules are, 5 days, and then every 2-3 months, it's another 5 days with some coursework in between. But we'll get to the structure a little later. I'd just like to share a little bit about the essence that you saw also in the video. So throughout the 2 years, what we are really moving along, we are moving along 3 dimensions, which are just systematically built. One is the cultivation, the development, the coming into the presence of ourselves as the therapist or the practitioner. And that really being the foundational base for the therapeutic work that happens with the client. So a lot of the course really focuses on that, and therefore also the mindfulness practice supports that of coming into presence. And the other thread that runs throughout the course is the presence in the relational field and between the therapist and the client, and from a sense of attunement and resonance is what we really work with. Embedded in this is also looking at attachment work and working from secure attachment. And the third thread that runs through the course is how do we support the client into coming into this deepest sense of resource, which we're calling presence, from where they can see what is the work that they need to engage in. And the client is really driving that process, and or I would say the client's body mind is really driving that. So we are really holding this very receptive, open stance to allow for things to emerge for the client as it might, trusting the natural intelligence that guides that, and moving at the client's pace in a moment-to-moment way, and touching into experience more directly, directly sensing it in the here and now. So that's the gist of what we do over the 2 years, which is done in a very experiential way. So to practice of what we encounter in the peer exchanges, and each module builds on the previous module, so it builds in the systematic. So I'll stop at that, and I'll just maybe hand over to Neeti, and really welcome all your questions towards the end. Yeah, I'll just answer this question that Christian is asking of. So this webinar is more, Christian, it's an introduction to the training. So as such, it's not a training in itself, it's information about the training. So we don't have an e-certificate for this.
Thank you, Sandy, for sharing and also introducing the course for us. And maybe as we come and we'll get into more details about the course. And also, as Sandy said, for all of you, that if there are any questions coming for you, please feel free to put up in the chat and we can keep taking them as and when.
Niti, I just wanted to also add that, because I'm not sure whether that was the question that Christian asked, that that the course is certified. It is an advanced diploma and it is accredited. It's an accredited course, which we are doing with in a collaboration with TIS, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, with the Departmental Center for Lifelong Learning over there.
Yeah. Thank you, Sandy, for adding that bit. And with that, I'll invite Harini to just share. I know Harini has been one of our oldest students of the course, I think second batch. So just it would be nice, Harini, if you could share what have been some of your learnings from the course. And as you share that, before that, perhaps you could also just say a little bit about yourself and what you do currently. So I'm going to put you on spotlight, so 1 minute. Yes, you can begin.
Thank you, Niti, and hello, everyone. Lovely to be here today, and it's always exciting when a new module or new cohort is about to form. So yeah, it's just nice, just soaking in that sense of joy. I'm Harini Raval, and I've been offering presence-based therapeutic spaces for about 5 years now. Otherwise, much of my work is also in the space of educational leadership, where also this work has shaped the kind of work I do, because although this course is in the context of therapy, I think it encompasses all of life. About the course itself and how I have, what I've drawn through it, it's a lot. It's been life shaping. It's been formative for me in a very comprehensive way, professional, personal, everything. And what I've really enjoyed, and I still do because it's an ongoing journey, is the simplicity with which it brings together a very complex combination of spiritual tradition, psychology, neuroscience, all of it. And the way it's woven together and put together in a way that is so accessible. I wouldn't say easy to integrate because it's a lot of work, but it's so accessible to integrate. It's just something that has had profound impact in the way I just live life, and of course the way I meet clients. I think for me the turning point was just the beginning of being able to sense the flavor of what Sandy has been referring to, presence. Just learning in the course to access, being able to access this quality of sitting with very charged states, whether in me or with my clients, from a place of just pure witnessing, a very uncaught state, which we otherwise call an unconditioned state. Just this really vast capacity that can just hold anything with love and acceptance and kindness. And for me, the course really, that's what really, I think, cemented my marriage with this way of life. Just the training, the practice of continuously doing the work we do, and then knowing that at some point one can touch into this state and it does become accessible, just a larger vastness. That's been really for me significant. And then the way it can play out in a therapeutic interaction, just this deep human capacity that emerges when one is encompassed with that, in that relationship, in that climate, when it is holding both of us. So I'm there sitting as a therapist or as a counselor, holding space, learned all the facilitation that I have, bringing it in. But really what is anchoring me and the client is also this larger sense that the larger intelligence, which works and surfaces so beautifully in the client. And one watches how people move from extremely difficult states and touch into their own capacity to heal, resolve, move forward. Seen that so much within myself as well. So just brings a deep sense of faith in life itself, that we could be down in the dungeons, but there's something that is holding us through it, and it makes the therapeutic interaction so beautiful because it's so possible for me to then see the other human as me and another human being sitting together in a situation. It's not so much like I'm sitting to fix a problem, but I'm sitting in a relationship where I'm holding this understanding, and it becomes accessible to both of us. And it's such a lovely human-to-human connect. And it makes, for me, the therapeutic relationship very beautiful, the work of therapy very beautiful. Just to see this life force coming into being. So I'm deeply grateful that, I don't know how much time I've taken, Niti. It's kind of, one can just keep swimming, but it's been very deeply anchoring to be in this course and work with whatever it has been teaching me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing, Harini. I know with all your years of practice, it must have been a very short time to even talk about this. I know you can talk more and I can hear more. I don't know about others, but I know there is value in, for me, in hearing what you're saying, and it touches. Yeah, so thank you so much for sharing that. So we'll take just a few moments of silence, just sensing into ourselves for some time after what has been shared, before we move on. And I can see there are some responses to Harini's sharing. You can also just take some time to read and yeah. Okay, so with that, I'll invite Romana. Romana, just 1 minute, I'll put you on spotlight. Yes, here is Romana. So Romana is one of our current students. She's actually almost about to finish the course. So Romana, maybe you can first introduce yourself, and then also just share in what ways are you benefiting from the course, and yeah, what is something that has maybe shifted for you or has touched you? Just anything is welcome. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Niti. Yeah, really, really lovely to be here, and thank you for the opportunity to share my experience. We just finished our last week, so there's lots that wants to be said about how this 2-year journey has been. So my name is Romana. I would describe myself as a facilitator, and I work mostly in education, leadership, social change, and I've been working with children, schools, and families, teachers that work in contexts of deep adversity and poverty, and with experiences of marginalization. And I think it was all of those experiences that got me here to this course. I think the question on my mind was, what is the role of personal transformation in social transformation? So that's what I came in. That's the inquiry I came into these 2 years with. And there's a lot that I've taken that I can really take, and that can answer that question. And in that process, I think there's a lot that I've just really experienced for myself, and the way, like Harini was highlighting, just the shift it's brought into my life, the way I see life, and the way I interact with life. So I wanted to share something I wrote just a few days ago, which for me has really integrated my learning. So, I think I love me, said a little voice within. Through all the darkness and pain, a whisper in the wind. The skies cleared, the light began to break through. The wind unfurled. I can now feel you. I think for me, this course really gave me the time and space to first just come into a relationship with myself. And I didn't know how disconnected I was from myself. So to have experienced just such a deep connection and a love for myself has been in itself life-changing. And through that, being able to hold myself with more kindness, with more space, and really see my experience as it is what it is. And all that charge is really just something that will come and it will go, and it's easier on some days, not so easy on some days, but there is that understanding now that I can move through it, and I can love myself through it. And in doing that, I really feel like I've come into a place of being able to receive love and give love from the other. And that other is every other being that I can interact with. So I thought it was going to be about what I can take back to the social change and the work out there. But it's really become something that shows up in every interaction, whether it's personal at family level, or with children or with colleagues. So really being able to see this same love and kindness that I can now hold for myself, that it's coming now more naturally for the others that I work with. So that like drive to create change is not so there now. It's more like, yeah, it's already there, like that essence of wholeness, and that idea that every human being is just beautiful and whole, and what I can do is just be that space where they can find that for themselves. And that's all really that needs to be done. And that really has been, I think, my biggest, what I'm still enjoying and immersing and finding that relationship with myself and with every other person that I come in contact with. So thank you so much for this experience. It's given me more than I can still articulate.
Thank you so much, Romana, for sharing that with us and putting it into words. I know it's not easy, but still doing that. And maybe all of us can again take a few seconds of silence and just sensing into ourselves. Yeah. And with that, I'll invite Sarah. Sarah has been a dear friend for a while and is also Romana's batchmate on this course. So is also closing her second year of this program. So Sarah, over to you. Maybe just start with your short intro of yourself, and then maybe you can share around just what stood out to you about the course and just your journey over the course. Yeah.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon to those who are joining from different time zones. Really happy to be here. It's also like, it's of course a pleasure, but it's also an honor to be here to express my journey, my experience with the course. And yeah, so I also describe myself as a facilitator, and I offer mindfulness and presence oriented counseling / listening spaces in association with Just Being and also as a private practice. And I'm just grateful that I got an opportunity to start my training journey with this orientation. So it's laid this beautiful base that Harini and Romana both have spoken about to go forward in. And I think they've covered so much. I was just wondering while they were speaking what's left for me to share, because it so resonates what they have already spoken about, especially this being with another, this human to human connection. And yeah, actually everything that both of them have spoken about just speaks to me as well on a very personal level, and has been I resonate with that with my own personal journey through the course. I think what really stood out for me was this experiential design of the course and the way that it brought the learning alive for me, and it almost redefined how education system could look like in India for me. And I've never had this kind of an experience before, where there's so much practice with your peers, practice in through observation, through demos, through discussions, and in that whole process, there was just so much learning that happened through doing. And I don't think there can be, like, it is so effective because this kind of training really requires that kind of immersion into the process. And so there was enough like scaffolding of theory and conceptual knowledge, but the focus was in really immersing into the practice. And not just for the learning, but also for my own personal journey in terms of my inner work, my inner processes, learning to support that. I think gave me a very strong, solid base to understand how it works. And so the whole focus on mindfulness practice, personal therapy, focusing exchanges with peers gave me a really strong sense of um, support and understanding of the work for myself, which I could translate then into the holding of the space. Another thing that really, and I have always been looking for a holistic approach to therapeutic change, and that's what really stood out for me in this course was so attuning to the other on these various levels, be it cognitive, be it emotional, be it somatic, be it subtle energy. So there was this very wholesome, holistic sense of facilitating therapeutic work. And so I found it very effective for myself and for the clients I've worked with. Yeah, and I think being trauma informed, it just really adds this dimension of care on a very different level for the client. And that has really supported me as well through the process and through bringing this in my client work. Yeah, and like Harini shared, there was this anchor of deepening the work from a space of all the qualities of mindfulness, and then sort of using the tools and techniques, whatever we learn through different modalities, bringing them in, and just enough to support the client's process. So not so much applying them, but really listening, and that being the core. And from there, what emerges and knowing when to bring in what, coming from a sense of intuition, listening from silence. So much of actually what Harini has already shared. So I won't repeat it, but yeah, this is what really supported me through the course. And I'm really happy that such a thing exists in India, in the psychology space, and really happy that I came across it. Thank you. Really grateful.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And also thank you for also touching upon the design of the course, and just how the course, the design itself supports the learning, and just what I think Romana and Hari and you also were sharing about. That's just how these experiences are also generated depends on so much on the foundation, the structure, and the design in which the learning is delivered, right? So thanks for bringing that in. Yeah. And just take a few seconds of silence with everyone. Okay. And with that, I'll invite our last person who's joining us, like not so much as the last sharing, but Aditi is here. So I'm not able to spotlight her. Yes. Okay. Hi, Aditi. Welcome. Thank you for joining in. So maybe we can just, you can take some time to just introduce yourself and also talk about how's the course benefited you, or what has shifted for you, especially in your professional front as a psychologist. So yeah, over to you. Aditi, your sound is a little low. It's a little feeble.
Is it better now?
Yes.
Am I audible? Yeah. So I just want to say that right now I work in the field of clinical psychology, and I'm based at a psychiatric hospital in Raipur, which runs RCI recognized MPhil courses. And so when I look back at why I wanted to join in and what this course has shifted for me, there is so much that has happened. And I realize every day how important it is to just build your capacity as a mental health professional, because your skill and your capacity not only sort of changes the space you hold for people who are coming in, but it also facilitates a change in the therapeutic space. Especially in clinical psychology, there are problems that people come up with, right? So there are difficult situations that are sort of breaking people down in some way. So there's a lot to cope with, there's a lot of stress, and there's fear around what's happening, and there's this sense of losing control or not knowing how this is going to turn out and what's going to happen to me. And yes, there is medication, and yes, there are these evidence-based approaches that are, integrated, but they fail unless we hold this very, very strong presence with people. And Sandy's teachings have been about that. I wanted to come into this course right from a time when I was a student, just learning my MA. I had done one module of mindfulness with Sandy in a dance therapy course. And my own healing sort of began there. I saw what it meant to actually be in the presence of somebody in a therapeutic space there. And through the course, what has happened for me is it has deepened my ability to not just look at my own healing, but also to understand that self-care is so important. So we are looking at all these different things, and at the end of the day, what is difficult to be with in any sort of presentation of a difficulty is a loss of connection that we feel. It could be depression, it could be anxiety, it could be trauma, it could be any other manifestation. And through presence, what we are deepening is our own connection with our bodies, our selves, and the present environment and the time that we are in. So that is so beautiful. And the way the course is designed, of course, I'm sure that a lot of people have spoken about it, but the focus on your personal therapy and supervision, I feel that sometimes the way our courses are designed at MA level or even at diploma level or MPhil level, there is this gap between theory and practical or practice that we see in our educational system. And therefore, that bridge to applying skill to the technique of psychotherapy has deepened for me through the course. Yeah. So I don't know how else to, and there's so much I want to say, and especially, I stay with some very basics about how when we talk about unconditional positive regard, and we talk about empathy, and we talk about congruence, Sandy has this metaphor that, and it's like presence is what facilitates that, and that can itself, without anything, be so immersive and transformational and meditative. And then we go into these philosophical depths of Buddhist psychology. And what is psychology? It came out of, philosophy, and then we looked at observable behavior, and we looked at insight, and we look at all of these different things. And today we are looking, even as a scientific community, at transcendental and existential change. And there is research evidence supporting the neuroscience of mindfulness and all of that. So this is an invaluable offering that Just Being has for all mental health professionals, because irrespective of your background and training, whether it is DSM American approach that you're following, or ICD British-based and Indian, perspective that you are trained in or that you're working with, and the setting that you're working with, this is going to just help you build that skill to be there with yourself and hold space for another person and deepen whatever technique you already know. So I'm truly grateful for the course.
Thanks, Aditi. Thank you so much for sharing and also bringing in this perspective of how the course deepens just whatever setting or way in which you might be already engaging with the therapeutic work. So it need not be completely different or separate out of the modality that you are already working in. It's more of an orientation that you sort of take up. So, yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Harini, Romana, Sarah, and Aditi, for just really bringing in such diverse and beautiful perspectives. I know I've interacted with all of you, but listening right now here with everyone just made me realize how rich the course and the offering really is from Just Being. So thank you, Sandy, for making this available for everyone. And with that, I'll just open for the questions which are already coming in. And so just 1 minute. Yeah. So Anuradha is asking, can you share a bit about the course structure and timelines? Sandy, would you like to take that? Yeah.
Yeah, so there was also a question earlier, which was asking when is the course going to start? So the course is starting in August. And the way it is structured is that there are 8 modules over the 2 years. And each module is about 5 days, which one needs to attend either in person or online, and it can be fully online. I know that there are course and had people from other countries who've done this course before, and we have modified the how they can join in and where they can join in, so that it's not too much of a stretch for them in their time zone. So we adjust that for people joining from other countries if that is possible. So I was talking about the module. So each module is about 5 days, and we have one module in August, and then the next one in November. We have a 7-day retreat, which is where we deepen into the practice and also look at what holds the practice, which is largely from the Buddhist philosophy that happens in the in March. And then in the second year, it follows the same similar cycle. And yeah, so yes, the modules, Vidya, are full-time for the 5 days. So it includes a weekend. So it's usually a Wednesday to a Sunday. Yeah, so one need to kind of make that time and space for the modules. Like you've heard from everyone, they're immersive modules. So it helps to be fully there and present and unplugged from anything else that you're engaged in, even if you're doing it online. And yeah, Vani is asking, and if we do the course in a distant mode, as I'm doing it along with another course, so that would not be a problem. I mean, doing 2 courses together, Vani, so I'm not too sure about the nature of your other course, but this course can be quite immersive. And although the modules are 5 days every few months, there is coursework and practice work to do between modules, which does take time. So so per week, I think keeping aside about 6 hours becomes necessary, like for your peer exchanges. If anyway you're practicing, then that becomes the application of your practice with clients, but you need to kind of like document that, and you receive feedback. So then there's ongoing feedback received. If we get the assignments on time. And yeah, so that's the way the course is structured. So really up to you whether you feel like you can do both courses. Before joining the course, we do have a one-on-one kind of like interview where we can look at that more in depth, Vani, if you wish. The course is available in a fully online format, yes. So if you wish to do it completely online, Ophelia, that's very much possible. And yes, it is a course it is meant for working professionals. So it might be that you have you are engaged with work, but you'll have to make time for the course material. So how you do that is really dependent on you and how you want to balance that. Yeah, but it is meant as a part-time course. Yeah. So Ophelia, I think if that answers it. And Anuradha, the venue for the in-person, those who are joining in person, the venue for that is at the center, the Jasping Center in Pune. So all of it will be happening there. What we are following is now a hybrid model of the course, which means those who are joining online and those who choose to do it in person are being together for the modules. And we may do some modules, especially the first and second one, completely online, and then shift to the hybrid version. So, yeah. So someone is asking about the effectiveness of the experiential learning, whether it differs in online and in-person method of learning. So we've heard from students, both who have done it completely in person before COVID, of course, and then where we've shifted it to online. And then very recently, especially in the last module, which Sarah and Romana were there, we did it in this hybrid way of online and in person. And they all work quite well. And the learning is there, whether it is online, whether it is in person. And yeah. So Megha, it is possible to do it in an offline format. Like I said, you can come to the center. So there will be some students who will choose to do it offline, some students who will choose to do it online. And so you can come to the center. We may choose to do the first 2 modules completely online in one, in one mode. So yeah, so except for those 2, then it will change to where you can come in person. All right. Ophelia is asking of whether the course is for full-time. Okay, I've answered that. In case you missed, I'm not getting the question. In case you've missed a Zoom call, are recordings available to catch up from? So it is strongly advised that we are there in person for the sessions. I mean, in person means, you're present, whether it is online or offline, because of the nature of the learning that you have all heard about. But in case there's something that comes up, and we do have those things, and you're going to miss some part of it, then yes, the recordings will be available for a limited period of time so that you can just catch up and, you can move to the next module. Of course, if you miss an entire module, you can do the catch up for them, but you will need to kind of redo that module the next time the course. Yes, it is possible to decide before the module whether to join in person and how, because yeah, so even if you've said, okay, I want to do it completely online, and then you change your mind, that is possible to do. It's also possible if you've said, I'm coming in person, and then maybe something comes up for you and you say, okay, I'm not coming in person for this time, but I will attend online. That's also possible. But when we have an in-person group, which is at least about 6, so that call we'll take once we have the numbers and what people have chosen, and we will share it with the group.
Sandy, maybe we can take this question by Tejal around how can this course accommodate those who don't have prior training in psychotherapy and might not have a current client-based practice?
Yeah, thank you, Niti. Tejal. Yes. So actually, this course is an advanced diploma. So it is if you are already engaged in some kind of like work, community work, client work, and then you're building on that. If not, then what we suggest is that there is the 1-year course that we run, which is mindfulness-based counseling, listening from embodied presence, which serves as a foundation course. And that is also an accredited program, though it is with St. Mira's College, Pune. So one can do that one and then come to the 2 years. So it serves as a foundation. And we can talk about that, Tejal, in terms of, what would be right for you at the time of interview, right? And to assess that. How does the course help to bring awareness in the learning space around issues faced by historically marginalized communities, differently abled, LGBTQ, religious minorities, Dalits, Adivasis? Is shadow work around these issues worked on, including systematic oppression, which is a bit more. All right. So Tejal, one is whatever community one is working with, whatever environment and one is working with, one can take this work and apply it over there. Having said that, within the course and the learning, what we are encountering in ourselves is also a function of what we hold also collectively. So around power, either in terms of holders of power or feeling disempowered. So either way, we are part of this whole fabric, and that comes through in how we encounter what we encounter with ourselves, and especially in interaction. And that becomes the material and the root to look at these to look at this kind of issues of social justice, or of how we meet ourselves and the other. But we meet these selves through how we find them and how we discover that within ourselves and in relationship. So that comes up, and whatever it is that comes up is taken up as a process of inquiry and being with, and in some sense delayering and looking at what's there and holding space for it. Supriya, can I do some modules online and offline? Yes, you can, Supriya. And having a therapist and supervisor. Okay, so if you already have a therapist you're working with, you're comfortable with, irrespective of modality, you can continue to work with a therapist, because that's more for your own personal work and journey. But for the supervisory support, then that is from those who have already been trained in this modality, because that's what you're receiving supervision, about and from. You want someone who'd be able to see your work from this orientation and this perspective. Yeah, so those would be from those recommended. Priyadarshini, is the course different from mindfulness-based counseling, listening with embodied presence? Both rest on the same principles, and both build on the same principles. The only difference might be, and which might be in the presence-oriented approach and the course, what we are doing is we are also including the therapeutic aspects and taking those therapeutic calls as to how we are supporting clients. So that would be the difference. Yes, there are academic readings as part of the program. So after each module, there are some concepts that we have touched into. So those concepts, there is of course a reading list provided, but there are also links and other resources that support our conceptual understanding of it. We work from first doing experience and then cementing it with the conceptual understanding. And so there are, as part of the coursework, so thank you for bringing that in, because as part of the coursework, then there are also some short essays on, so we need to read up and find out a little bit more and write about it. So it clarifies our understanding of some concepts that are guiding the work. Yeah. Yeah, Anuradha? Anuradha, we can take a call on that and let you know. That is the process of deciding in terms of what is the best way to support the learning for each one, but not just the learning, but also the, like we learn as a group. So you also learn a lot from the sharing and, you know, the whole community. And from exchanges with each other. So we're really building a strong, I wouldn't say strong, but I think a container of sorts for our experiences. So we're going to see what is the best way to support the development of that container in a hybrid format. So we can let you know about that. We are toying with looking at module 1, module 2 in this one mode or completely online, so that we can build this base and then shift to hybrid. Yeah, so but we can let you know what's the conclusion finally on that. Yeah. So Ophelia's question, yes, you have to be actively present in the Zoom call, videos on, because it's relational work. So we are engaged with each other in a very relational way, and therefore having videos on, seeing people, and we've taken a lot of efforts to try it in the hybrid way so that we can really have this experience of each other, whether we are joining in on, you know, in person or online. So that's very much quite important to the whole group, because we are creating this together. So in the morning we also don't do it continuously, because there's time when you take a break. It's not, you know, especially if we are doing it online, we are not fatigued by constantly being online continuously. So we start roughly 8:30 in the morning to 10. This is what we've been following so far. And then doing the next session 11 to 1, then the next session 3 to 5:30. So that's roughly how it might look like. There might be a little change in which we can do. So you need to be present through the day. Yeah. Yes, Anuradha. So you can definitely come in person. So that will definitely be an option for learning. Yeah. So certainly after the maybe 1 or 2 modules, and if everything is conducive to meeting in person, then we'll definitely go in for the in-person. So Dhruva wants to know about the neuroscience aspects of this course and the trauma-informed approach. So there are, so each module, you can have a look at the curriculum, and each module, we learn a little piece, we implement it, we put it into practice, and that's how we kind of learn. So neuroscience is part of it, trauma-informed is another part of it, which comes at some time in the course. Okay, Niti.
Yes. So thank you so much, Sandy, for taking up all the questions, and thank you everyone for engaging so much with the course and with us right now. So maybe since it's already like 11:35, we can close for now. However, if you have any questions, any further thoughts and all, please feel free to reach out. I have mentioned the link of the website. I'll put it again, where you can find more all this information about what are the module dates, what are some of the topics covered in the curriculum. Maybe I'll also put the possible timings, although they are subject to change and hence they have not been put up on the website. But just to give a rough idea, perhaps we'll also put what are the timings of the day in which we have the courses, and including the fee structure and everything. All that information is present, so feel free to please go through that. You can also drop a WhatsApp message on this number if you would like to have a brochure or you have any other questions, right, to ask. So please feel free to do that. I'm just going to put that down on the chat. Yeah. Aditi, you have a question? You want to say something?
No, I just wanted to add a little bit, and I feel it was important to say it now, that the way the course is outlined in the brochure and the way the outlines of the modules are presented are so simple and clear, and if we can just approach the course from a place of little bit of silence, maybe knowing that these modules are coming up and having that space and time for yourself, or just getting that space for yourself to immerse in the course for the 2 years, the way it is facilitated will contain everything that comes up and that is important for you and that feels relevant to you. So just wanted to add that. Thank you so much, Nikki, for making space.
Thanks, Aditi. Yes, Dhruva, I will share the recording with all of you, but also that we did a live, right? So the recording of this video will actually be available on YouTube on our channel. Maybe I can just also share the link here where it is present, so you don't have to wait for the Zoom recording to come. Yes, so I've put the YouTube link also where you can access today's meeting. And yes, okay. Sandy, is there anything you would like to add or close? I'll just, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, thank you all for really being here and being interested in, like I said, in this approach, and it's heartening to see that. And yes, feel free to reach out to us and know about it. And thank you so much. It was deeply touching to hear all of you, Harini, Romana, Sarah, Aditi, and thank you so much for sharing your experience. Thank you, Niti, for holding it. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much, everyone. You can close now.